The Velarath Ascendancy had cataloged 4,312 sapient species across the known galaxy. They had mapped dying stars, negotiated treaties between civilizations that communicated only through color-shifting skin, and survived the collapse of the Karath Dominion without losing a single diplomatic vessel. They had never been afraid, until they met humans. Ambassador 12 Tal stood in the observation bay of the cruiser Endless Patience, watching the blue-white marble called Earth rotate lazily below. Beside him, his aide, Vila, shuffled her secondary appendages in what passed for nervousness among their kind. The Galactic Council's briefing was thin, Vila murmured. It always is with new species. 12 Tal waved a dismissive tendril. Carbon-based, bipedal, tribal governance structure. Technologically adolescent. They've barely cracked their own solar system. They call themselves humans. How quaint. The communication panel chimed. 2 life signs had been cleared to board, the planet's designated representatives. The Velarath had requested their 2 most accomplished members, a scientist and a soldier, as was diplomatic custom. The airlock cycled open. John walked in first. He was unremarkable by physical standards, medium height, broad shoulders, dark hair shot through with gray at the temples. He wore a simple uniform, rank insignia the Velarath's scanners quickly identified as Senior Rescue Coordinator, International Emergency Response Division. He carried no weapon. He was smiling. Emma came in behind him, and 12 Tal's environmental scanner immediately began screaming. Not because she was threatening, because of what the scanner reported. Human female. Age, 34 standard years. Biological threat index, extreme. Origin biome classification, Deathworld, class 4. 12 Tal's secondary heart stuttered. Class 4. The Velarath homeworld was a class 1, stable atmosphere, gentle seasons, predators no larger than a domestic animal. Most spacefaring civilizations range from class 1 to class 2. Class 3 planets existed, theoretically. 12 Tal had read about them in academic papers. Class 4 was supposed to be uninhabitable. Emma tucked a strand of auburn hair behind her ear and looked around the ship with open curiosity. She was a xenobiologist, according to her credentials. She had a small scar along her jaw and was chewing something, actively chewing something, with the idle contentment of a creature that had never once feared being eaten. "Your vessel is beautiful," she said. Her translator rendered it perfectly. "Is that hull plating grown or forged?" 12 Tal forgot to answer. The diplomatic session began well enough. John presented Earth's formal greeting with the easy confidence of a man who had spent 20 years pulling survivors from collapsed buildings, flooded cities, and burning aircraft. He had negotiated with warlords and disaster relief bureaucracies. A room full of 7-limbed aliens barely registered as stressful. It was during the cultural exchange portion that things became interesting. Vila had prepared a standard xenological questionnaire. She asked it of every new species. The answers were usually reassuring, proof that sapient life, whatever form it took, tended toward the same cautious, self-preserving instincts that had let civilizations survive long enough to reach the stars. Question 1, Vila began. What is the primary biological threat on your home planet? John and Emma exchanged a look. Define primary, John said. The creature most likely to kill an unprotected member of your species. Emma tilted her head. Unprotected how? Like, no shelter? No tools? No fire? Correct. Then probably. She paused, actually considering. Mosquitoes? By raw kill count, definitely mosquitoes. Though a case could be made for hippopotamuses if you're near water. Or box jellyfish if you're in the ocean. Or the ocean itself, really. Or a bacteria. Does bacteria count? The room was very quiet. How many? 12 Tal said slowly. Lethal organisms share your planet. We stopped counting, John said cheerfully. There's a lot. And your species survived this. We didn't just survive it. Emma leaned forward with the enthusiasm of someone who genuinely loved her field. We thrived. We spread to every continent, every climate zone. We live on mountain ranges with so little oxygen that our cells should stop functioning. We live in deserts where the heat should cook us alive. We've got settlements inside active volcanic regions. She paused. We also went to the moon and Mars, and we're working on the outer planets. Vila's scanner was still alarming softly in the background. The real moment came an hour later. A Velarath technician burst into the session chamber, his chromatic scales cycling through distress patterns. One of the cruiser's secondary engines had destabilized, a maintenance failure, rare but not unheard of. The affected compartment was venting heat at levels lethal to Velarath biology. The repair drones had malfunctioned. The two crew members trapped inside had less than 8 minutes before the heat killed them. 12 Tal felt the cold paralysis of a species that had evolved in safety. His people were brilliant. They were adaptive, but they had never been forged by a world that was actively trying to kill them every single day. John was already standing. "What's the temperature in there?" he asked. The technician checked his panel, confused by the question. 63 degrees of your Celsius scale. Rising. John unbuttoned his collar. "Emma." "Already moving," she said. "You cannot." 12 Tal started. "That temperature is fatal to you," John said, not unkindly. He was already asking the technician for a schematic of the engine compartment. "Humans ran marathons in that. We've got workers in steel mills hotter than this. What's the repair procedure?" 2 minutes later, John and Emma were inside the compartment. The Velarath crew watched on thermal monitors in stunned silence as the two humans moved through air that should have been killing them, efficiently, calmly, talking to each other in that clipped shorthand of people who had trained together for emergencies. Emma located the trapped crew members and guided them toward the exit, one over each shoulder, carrying beings half again her size without apparent strain. John reached the engine coupling, studied it for 30 seconds, and rerouted the power flow with a manual override that the drones had been programmed to consider too risky. The venting stopped. Total elapsed time, for minutes, 17 seconds. John walked back out into the corridor, sweating, and accepted a hydration pack from a speechless Velarath medic. Emma set down the two rescued crew members, who were staring at her with the particular expression that translated across all species as "I cannot process what just happened," and checked them both over with practiced efficiency. "They'll be okay," she said. "Some heat stress, but nothing permanent." 12 Tal stood very still for a long moment. "You walked into a lethal environment," he said finally, "to save people you had never met." John shrugged. "That's the job. You weren't afraid." Emma looked genuinely puzzled by this. "Of course we were afraid. That was hot." She took a long drink of water. "Fear's not the thing that stops you. Fear's just your body getting ready." That evening, 12 Tal sent a classified transmission to the Galactic Council. "Recommend immediate elevation of human species to protected observation status." Secondary recommendation: reconsider all existing threat classifications for Class 4 biomes. Tertiary recommendation, and I cannot stress this enough, do not make enemies of these people. Addendum: they brought food from their homeworld as a diplomatic gift. I had our xenobiologist analyze it. The spices alone would have dissolved my esophageal lining. They eat this voluntarily, for pleasure. I repeat, do not make enemies of these people. He set down his communication stylus and looked out at the blue planet below, the beautiful, terrible, magnificent world that had spent 4 billion years trying to kill everything on it, and had instead accidentally built the most dangerous diplomatic partners in the known galaxy. He thought about Emma, carrying 2 grown Velarath through a heat that should have floored her, with the calm expression of someone running a routine errand. He thought about John, smiling as he walked into danger. "Fear's not the thing that stops you," she had said. "Fear's just your body getting ready." 12 Tal dimmed his observation window and decided, with great conviction, that humanity was either the best thing to happen to the galaxy or the last. Either way, it was going to be interesting.